Let's do a November recap, and before I do so, come over to ztrades.net, check out the terms and conditions page. After doing so, if you agree to our disclaimer on our terms and conditions, come down here and join the Discord completely free. If you don't agree to it, don't watch the video, don't join the Discord. I want to go over what I'm seeing on everything here, where we're at, what happened, and where I think some things are going to go. You know, we got the Santa rally coming up. Before I do so, let's hop over to Bitcoin, the elephant in the room, so we can find out what's going on here. Let me go ahead and move my head up here, just so we can see what's up. Right now, we're in the green. We're nowhere near the top of the green. The top of the green is around 112, like 110 to 112. All right. And that is in basically early December. So by the end of December, let's see what we can do here. If I can stretch this out a little bit more. There we go. By the end of the December, let's go to December. Yeah, let's get it around mid-December. Top of the green should be 115. What I'm really looking out for is like around March. You know, February, March, right in that range. If we can get to the top of the yellow, fantastic area for me to take some profits. Anywhere in the mid to upper yellows on here. This is just follow this. Follow this. We're going to have, it looks like a slight pullback. We have a 1, 2, 3 reversal on the weekly on Bitcoin. Other than that, you know, it did this last time. We had a pretty decent pullback in December and last halving, and we ended up shooting up after that. So January for Trump's inauguration, I'm hoping everything's going to go ahead and soar. But top of the yellow, 173, I really like that. Do I think we'll get to the top of the orange? There's never been a time that we didn't, except over here, but it already shot up a bunch. You can see that this is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We actually hit the red back there. I remember that 2016 to 20, having in 2016, we went nuts in 2017. We kissed the red briefly last time. We went to 69. So we've pretty much seen the red every time. We did kiss it briefly here. It's not going to show you the wick shooting up there. But I mean, if that happened, like, you know, way later down the road, you're talking about 300, you know, 290 to 300 a coin, which if the US Treasury is going to be adding them Bitcoin to the Treasury, and then they're going to be building a strategic reserve, then China is, then Russia is. I mean, guys, there's not unlimited of them. It's supply and demand. It's kind of logic. It's basic logic. There's not going to be any left. We got one more halving after that. I mean, there's hardly anything. And after the halving, after the 2032 halving, that's it on Bitcoin. I mean, there's nothing left. The reward is hardly anything at all. And they're going to be extremely expensive by that point. But this is my target, right in this yellow, anywhere between, you know, 160 and 180. That is a great area for me to be out, let's say 60%. Of my holdings, in my opinion. I think that would be a great area for me to be out of that. So let's jump over to here to AMD. This is something I have that's on watch. We did respect this channel. I have been calling it out. I am in debit call spreads. I added one. When was that? Thursday? No, or Monday or Tuesday, and I added another yesterday. I averaged down my dollar cost average. I'm in the 150 buy, 160 sell for January 17th. Keep in mind, I wouldn't go naked on this because it's like if it's down for a period of time, the whole thing kind of gets screwed up, and I have more flexibility because I did expect some downside, but it was holding a 100 on a different time frame, and I didn't want to go naked. And if we go down, you have two options. You can add another spread, or you can just close the sell side, which is in profit, and be naked from there once you get confirmation that we're bouncing. We did bounce off that. Let's go ahead and take a look at an hourly chart. We're going to go to a 1 hour chart over here. Here's where we bounced, right there. We started to shoot up. So we did respect that on the weekly, and I have been watching this. The higher time frames have command, I should say, superiority over I don't know what the word I'm trying to look for is here. You know, it's just we're just out of 6 a.m. in the morning. It's pretty early here. They have I can't think of the word. Whatever. I'm not going to waste time trying to think of it, but they basically have. I can't think of the word. It's going to drive me nuts. I'm too out of it right now. I will listen to the higher time frames. The lower time frames are come under the control of the higher time frames, basically. I'll just explain it. So we bounced there, we bounced here, we bounced there, bounced off that EMA there, the 100. We're holding this trend line here. This was a beautiful setup right here, guys. Beautiful setup right at the bottom of that channel at 93, and the thing had a straight shot to 226. Amazing. This is why you have to hang out on the higher time frames, because this is where all the action happens. Now, if we did somehow break this, we have this big volume gap to like 128 and then 122. There's no way we're going below 122 in my opinion. You know, we even have this volume shelf over here, all that. But it is possible if something catastrophic happened and semis are not doing well that we could break that and we could jump down to 127. So, but I'm predicting we're going to bounce here. We are holding that 100 EMA. You can see, look very closely here. We came down, looked like it was going to break. It shot up and then closed right on the 100. So the fact that it's respecting that, I'm having this on watch. I think I added at a great point down there for the debit spread. So we'll see how this plays out into the Santa, hopefully, rally at the end of the year. Usually always is a Santa rally. The question is how far, if we're going to tank in early December, which has happened multiple times in my trading history, how far will the dip be, if there is one, right? Because if we end up dropping 7% on the market and then we bounce up 8%, you know, it's like, and you added before the dip and then sold the bottom, all that stuff comes in. You have to calculate for that. That's why I did a debit spread. If a gigantic dip had already happened, then I might be naked, but this is why I did a debit spread. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. AMD's on watch for the end of the year, going into January, guys. I don't like that on NVIDIA. I don't. We had snapped that. Doesn't look good. I don't need to chart the top. You know, a lot of people have to like chart everything, and you know, they're okay, let me draw this. Oh my God, it's a wedge break. You know, we could come down into here. Let's take a look at a daily. The only thing I really see here is we have a double bottom from here to here. It bounced up there. Would love to see the volume shelf 129. 129 is still really high on this thing, guys. You know, just back in May, we were at basically 83 bucks on this. You know, and we're at 129 now, and it's like it's the end of the world, you know, to everybody. So, yeah, let me just go ahead and make this a kaleidoscope at this point, and draw something else here. We're gonna get technical analysis paralysis here. I'm gonna have to start moving stuff. That's not bad. That is not bad. We're going to go ahead and remove this here. That's pointless. We're going to remove this trend line. That's pointless now. We'll leave this one up. You know, I kind of like drew that into existence. That's not really... Yeah, I suppose. You could do that on anything, though, that moves in a straight line. And we have a double bottom from here, right, to here. Could bounce. We're kind of floating here. Would love to see that 129 right there on the volume shelf. Let's go ahead and let me just look at a monthly. I really don't like what I saw there on anything. Monthly looks completely fine. MSTR, I don't like the TA on AMD was better. I'm just kind of, you know, I'm kind of playing with it to see if I'm, you know, being delusional and making things exist that shouldn't exist on the technical analysis, which a lot of people do to justify their belief on where it's going to go. I like the body, where this body is placed. We're you know, outside of that. We're above that body. I really, really like that, guys. I really like that. Let me just kind of play with this here. live so we can see what we have going on. I just want to see this. I want that in place in case something happens in the future and we come down and bounce off that. There's a big volume gap down there. It doesn't mean we're going to fill it. Let's take a look at a weekly. Weekly's telling me absolutely nothing. 4 hour, if we had the other EMAs up, if I had TOS up, I could show you. This looks like it's going to peel down a bit before it bounces back up. But there, and there, that trio right there, I like that. And we started to break up. We'll see if Bitcoin's going to keep running into Monday. I expect MSTR to go ahead and shoot all the way back up here in the 400s. I'm actually in, since MSTR equity is just so freaking dangerous, I'm in MSTX equity. It's almost like the same thing, right? This thing was just 221 and it's 100, right? So if I get in this, even if we pop back up here to 140, I mean, that is, you know, I got in below 100 in the group. I called it out. Equity Genie's in it as well. That's 40%. That's a 40% return. That's not bad. And it has no expiration. So I like some of these leverage funds. If it's a bit dangerous or it's extremely volatile at the time, you know, I'm charting Bitcoin's technical analysis. I don't like it right now at all. So this is why I did not do options on MSTR. Although if MSTR has a slight tick up, the premium on those calls is going to skyrocket. This is a great middle ground. It's almost like Switzerland, right? It's neutral. So it's kind of like right in the middle where you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna, that's a horrible analogy, but, you know, I'm not too sure. And the profit is still great and the risk is lower because at the end of the day, I can just hold it depending on what happens here. I highly doubt we're going to have a gap to 61. I can even add to it. You know, it doesn't cost that much money and ride it back up, ride that equity back up. Yeah, but kind of ignore that line a little bit there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Mara. A lot of the other miners, they're not doing anything right now, and they're not until there's going to be a gigantic squeeze. Mara, I don't like that candle formation there. I like the one prior. Other than the daily looks, you know, it's going to dance around up and down. The weekly is what I like. Look at that. We closed outside and above. I really like that. This is bullish, and I've had this charted for a long time since, looks like early November, and we finally snapped out of it. Beautiful. Like I say, always be seeing, always look at what's going on the higher time frames. Right? The lower time frames are under the command of the higher time frames. I don't like how this is right here. Just ignore that. It's not cooperating with me there. That's a little bit better. So let's go ahead and go to a linear chart. You know, if I create this, something like this on a linear chart, when I turn it off, it shows it like that. So if you guys see that on my charts, that's what that is. This looks like a little bit of a collage here. But we have a insane squeeze that look how long that is. Was there a period where, yeah, that was a pretty long squeeze. We ended up popping hard, but this is crazy, guys. I mean, this is crazy, and we're turning up here. Where's the volume at? Yeah, we're about to go into no man's land. So what I can basically do here, let me turn on autofib. This is not where I want it to be at all. That is not where I want it. Let's see if I can go ahead and chart this out live here. We'll do this. If I can get this just proper. This is not what I want to do. This is not. This is not what I want to do here. Let me remove this. This isn't correct. I don't know if this is a retracement or what. We don't have time to do this live right now. There we go. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, okay. I like this. You know, I fit it in perfectly right here and it shows up right there. This is not how I like to set my fibs up. I like to do them manually. fib retracements from high to low, then to a high. And you have everything set up. But anyways, this will work for now. And I don't need these to fit in place. There we go. That's driving me nuts here. So we got 33, and then we got 50. And then, I mean, this is just crazy. We'll be in this range. I'd like to possibly sell some covered calls when we hit this fib up in here. I really would. Let's go ahead and turn this into a linear chart. Yeah, right when we get to 33, I'd love to sell maybe the, 40 calls, something like that. 40 calls for a month out as a means to exit one of the lots of the 100 packs of shares. That would be great. And if it doesn't hit, then whatever. And then I still have hundreds of more shares left. I can then sell the 50 call, and if I don't want to exit at that point, it looks like it has a lot of power, I can roll it. I can sell the 60 call, roll it up to the 60 strike. That'll give me my equity that I bought a higher position that they're going to be buying it at. I bought it at 10 and I was assigned at 18 and 14, whatever my dollar cost average is in there, which Fidelity doesn't calculate it properly usually. The higher I roll the strike on the covered call, the more money I end up making. I end up making a lot more money. Let's go ahead and take a look at the calls here. We can look at the calls. Let's go ahead and look at the options, add to sidebar. And let's see what we have here. Mara, look at this. This is January 25 strike for 2027 is in heavy. And we got the 30 strike. Let's look at these over here. What is this? The 50 calls expiring in December of 2025. Why wouldn't you just go to January 2026, Usually sometimes there's an end of the year pop, like last halving cycle and the cycle before that. Why wouldn't you just do that so that you could still have a year left by the time it's the end of next year in 2025? You know what I mean? Let's take a look at these. 50s for January 2026. There we go. That's it right there. Someone dropped around 70K in that. I like that one there. We got these for Jan 40s. Those are going to be pricey. You could just do a wide debit at this point. 20 calls. Let's take a look at what we got. Look at all this over in here for December 20th. It is real. It is real. Let's look at these up here. This guy's ambitious. He's got the 40s. Those are basically 3 weeks out. He could be up. They could be up, whoever they are. 30 calls for March. Those aren't bad. You're going to catch probably the inauguration boom for Orange Man. Let's take a look at the 38s. June. June is another date if you'd like to be out this year. If you want to play the whole thing, the IV is going to get too juiced. If you weren't in, then you're not getting in without just insane risk. Just insane risk. You got to be in before the IV goes parabolic. And just not too long ago, we were at $13, $14 on Mara. Like not long ago at all. When was this? Yeah, this was in September. We were in the 13s basically, 14. Can you imagine how cheap a call would be at that point for, let's say, March, like a 40 strike when it's $13? It's not that bad. And I also picked up equity and just rode the equity up. The equity's up almost 100% there. My options are through the roof. I held them throughout all this. I have old options that I jumped the gun. If you're early, you're wrong. I was too early on those. And I also have new options that I bought that I called when it started to get some steam and popped up to around 16. We're at basically $27 now. So, but that's that strike right there, that whoever that bought that for January of 2026, that's a strike I like. I really like that. It's kind of too late in my opinion. We'd have to see where they're at. I don't think it's too late. Mara could really go parabolic here, and it does every single halving. And they're also diluting the shares to buy more Bitcoin. So this squeeze over here is just crazy. Not a bad 37 calls, not bad, for 2027. That would be the best. If you're okay with spending the money, they're not going to move as aggressively, but the risk is lower. Those 50 strikes, if that guy, whoever that was, if they got that early on whatever group it was, fund, I don't know, bank, individual, where if they got that early enough, like in September, beginning of September, I mean, they're sitting pretty right now. You have so much leverage at that point. You can sell the, let's say, 70 calls or the 65 calls or the 60 calls against the 50 calls after it shot up a lot. Those calls are probably up 100%, well over 100%. So you could then sell the 60 calls against the 50 calls, maybe even the 70s, depending on however much those calls cost. Let's say they cost $500. If you can sell a further out strike for 500 and receive that back, what you put in it, then there is no risk. It's risk-free trade at that point. So this dude coming in here, whoever they are, you buying the 50 calls for 2026 over here. We ride this up, they're up 100%. They could be up more than that. They're probably up way over that, maybe 150%. You can then turn around and, I mean, it's just, you're just swimming in cash at that point. You now have locked into a risk-free position. No matter what happens, you're good. So, maybe taking a little off the table and then selling calls against it, turning it into a debit spread, receiving back more than you put in. There you go, right? You also don't want to limit your profits, but at the end of the day, it's always smart to get a bit defensive. You just don't want to be too defensive and hinder how much you make and then have a wide open floodgate when it comes to losses and holding until it goes to zero, right? That math doesn't work out on a portfolio. Let's see what we got going on here on Mara. This is, you guys can ignore that. Let's go ahead and remove this and see what we have going on. I like to see this shoot up more. I really don't see, on Riot here, I really don't see too much that I like. Let's go ahead and turn this into a linear chart. There we go. That actually doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad at all. Let's go ahead and turn this around a little bit. There we go. Covering some minors here. This is what people want to talk about and see. And we could come up 32, 39, 40. That would be great. That would be wonderful if we could do that. And I think it could. So we just really need to bust out of this area where it's rejected. We need to get above like 20 on Riot. We have a straight shot to all up in this range. That would be nice. $40 on Riot. Be fantastic. Would love that, guys. So let's also take a look at AEO, American Eagle. I like the TA on that. I don't know why I'm on a monthly. Let's go to a daily. Let's go ahead and turn this way. There was an inverted head and shoulders. If I was on a line, you know what? Why don't we go to a line chart? There we go. Look at that. Inverted head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I'd love to see that break. Do I wait for the break like it says in the books where they have the cartoons, the technical analysis books where it has the cartoons of the picture perfect setup? No, I don't. I get in based off a lot of things, volume, everything, before it breaks. Once you get it after it breaks, sometimes it pulls back. I'd rather be in before, and if it's strong enough and the setup's well enough on top of the other stuff outside of the invert IHS, it should go. Would love to see this EMA up here. 1932 would be awesome to see 20. Let's go back over to hollow candlesticks and see if I have anything else I can see up here. Now let's shoot over to a weekly. Yeah, let's go ahead and, this is some of the stuff I'm actually looking for. We're going to go into a recap of November. So let's go ahead and do that. We had, TJX, guys, when you have Black Friday coming up, 1, 2, 3, 4, this was on the 21st last week. We have Black Friday basically a week away with these reversal candles. Look at those wicks there. Came down to fill this little volume gap, shot up quick, showing that there's a lot of buyers down there. Could have gotten in 119, and the thing shot nearly $10. Let's take a look at all of them. Guys, it's that simple. November 20th, we were at 136 and we shot up to 1. Can you imagine if you're in options and the way those move with their spreads? DLTR, I had this on watch and I missed it. Yep, see, I already have it charted right here. Look at these gaps up here. Came to 81. We've got another gap to 95, filling that gap. I'd at least like to see even the bottom of the gap up here to 76, which could happen. as of now, TA looks great on it. RSI is going up. Look at that. We have a squeeze there. We're starting to peak up over there. Looks great. What's another stock that would do well in Black Friday? Nike. This doesn't look good here, but I mean, we shot up from 73 up to 79. Everything right around November 20th for Black Friday. TGT. Those of you in the Discord know this. We shot from 153 down to 120. These calls, people were averaging in around 140, 150. I got them in the low twos, and they saw $600. Right? They dipped a bit. I sold the rest here. I shouldn't have, but my PT was right there where this volume bar is sticking out here, 133. Anywhere in there would be my PT. These are for December 20th, so I can't hold them too long. Would want to be out Friday, in my opinion. That would be the best, in my opinion, place to exit if I were to still be in, because it's Black Friday. We'll let the numbers. I'm not going to gamble on the numbers. Walmart. No, this is before Black Friday. We're at 83. We shot up $10 on this thing, basically. Walmart's always a good one, but look at the run. I didn't want to buy it. I did not want to buy it. I'm very upset I did not buy that after the crash, after the split. But whatever here. It shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? What else? What's another? RETL, the leverage retail ETF. It's a great great place to be for Black Friday. We shot from $9 to $11. If I did an equity play, not that bad at all, guys. Not that bad. What else do we have here? ANF had, I think Equity Genie played this run up on Abercrombie and Fitch. We're at 141. We shot up to 161. That's a $20 move. They had something happen here. BBY, I can't remember what the news was. Best Buy's all over the place. I don't know what this is. So we had a gap to fill right there. Let's see if I can stretch this out a bit. We can just zoom in on this area. And we'll do it like this. We'll come down a little bit. We had this gap right here. And we had this candle placement. When that body is shooting higher, when you look at these three candles right here, this one, lower candle, higher candle, as in the bodies, right? Don't focus on the wicks too much. And we have a gap here to 88. Getting in there at 86 could be an easy gap fill. Easy gap fill. And it kept going. Shot up to 95, from 86. And this was November 21st. We got Black Friday coming. But then they had earnings. Don't fact check me on that. I'm 99% sure on this. I really wasn't paying attention to it or needed to. And then we popped down. But I mean, just knowing that we have Black Friday and earnings, that there's and the technical analysis when all three you get the three horsemen right here, and that pop, amazing. Retail has been great right now. What else? Is there any other retail? Anyways, nailed target. We're in Amazon. Amazon has this gap fill over here. If it started to pull back here, we went into the gap. We have a gap all the way up to 210. I bought a truckload of these. I called this when it was down here. Go to my X account, my Twitter, and I saw this, and I'm like, why wasn't I in here? I should have been in here. We got, worst case, it bounces, comes down, it peels over and comes down a little bit lower. I can add to it. We got the Santa rally coming in Christmas. Amazon's going to go nuts. They're going to go nuts. And we have this gap fill all the way up here. It's Amazon, 210, right? Could have gotten in this thing below 200. Regardless, I got in right around 199, 200. I bought some calls, the 215s, and they have absolutely soared. They have went nuts. I think I got those in the threes, and they saw the sixes at one point, high five, sixes. I've sold all but one. I'm holding it here. I don't think I'm going to lose my money. This would have to drop a whole bunch, like all the way down here, for the entire position to be a loss. I've already gotten so much money back out of this thing. So I'll get defensive if we end up breaking down to coming down to the bottom of this bar. I'll get defensive. I may cut it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna figure that out whenever I'm in the moment there. So gap fill 210ish. Keeping my eyes peeled on that. Last thing I want to bring up. So that was a recap of what we've been doing for Black Friday here, and we got the Santa rally possibly coming. Let's get off a daily. This isn't. You can ignore that. Yeah, that came down and then popped right back up. Let's just take a look at this. Let's make it a little bit more simple. Okay. I like this. I really like that. So we'll see if we can break out of this. You know, see from over here, we came down from a pretty decent price. We made a higher low. Just look at it this way. We've got a low. That's not a low. We've got a low here. Then we have a higher low. Then we have a higher low. Let's go ahead and try to chart this two different ways here. Let's turn this into a linear chart. That's not really going to work. Let's chart this a different way. I just want to kind of see what's going on here. I like that. I really like that a lot. So, anyways, guys, Apple on watch. It's Christmas. Look at this thing. Christmas is coming. AAPU, I'm in equity on this thing. I want this thing to rip. Why are the candles hollow over here and they're not on the other chart? It makes no sense to me. Regardless, let's see. Oh, and look at this kissing the 50 down here. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's fit that in place. I love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Great. AAPU, I'm in equity on that. I'm still in, I have one option left on Apple. I was hoping to get a bigger dip and then add more. Regardless, I'm holding it to the end of the year for the Santa rally, unless we have a gigantic pop out of this. December's coming. I expect there to be a Santa rally. Everything's looking great over here. AMD, Apple, Amazon are on watch for December, guys. All three of those are on watch for December. And MSTX, the leverage monster, or MicroStrategy, not monster, MicroStrategy fund there, as well as MSTR. MSTR and the leverage fund, Apple and the leverage fund, which is AAPU, and AMD. So if you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more. This is a recap of November, which the end is the juiciest part of November because of Black Friday, and what I'm eyeing for December. We'll do more updates the following week or week or two here on what we have going on in December and how everything's starting to play out.